What's going on, y'all? Fabian Speaks, man. We are back with a video. We're doing a reaction to the most unsettling painting of Satan, Lord of the World. So go ahead and comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and hop into the video.
The painting you are looking at is called Allegory of Satan, also known as Lord of the World, created around the year 1900 by the Polish artist Ludwik Stasiak. At first glance, it does not show hell, fire, or demons. Instead, it shows Satan seated calmly before us, like a ruler on a throne. His wings rise behind him, his body occupies the center of the composition, and his expression is strangely controlled, satisfied. This is not the usual Satan we know as a grotesque monster. This is Satan as power itself. To understand why Satan was portrayed in such a restrained and unsettling way, it helps to look briefly at the artist behind the painting. Ludwik Stasiak was born in Bochnia in 1858. He belonged to a generation of Polish artists working at a time when painting was often connected to history, religion, symbolism, and national identity. He studied in Krakow, where he was connected to the artistic world shaped by figures such as Jan Matejko, and later continued his education in Vienna and Munich. But Stasiak was not only a painter, he was also an illustrator, journalist, art historian, publisher, and writer, which means his work often carried a strong narrative and symbolic quality. That background matters because Allegory of Satan does not feel like a simple religious image. It does not illustrate one clear biblical episode. It is not Satan tempting Christ, not Satan falling from heaven, and not Satan ruling over a fiery underworld. The title tells us how to understand it. This is an allegory. Satan is being used as a symbol of something larger: temptation, pride, domination, and the seductive nature of worldly power. And with that in mind, the details of the painting become even more interesting. Satan is not surrounded by flames or armies of demons, but by objects that feel much closer to human life. Beneath his throne, we can see the remains of worldly ambition, scattered almost like trophies. There are skulls, which immediately bring death into the image. Beside them are also objects connected to wealth, authority, beauty, and conquest. It feels as if Stasiak is showing us everything people chase in life, reduced to a pile beneath Satan's feet. Another important detail is what Satan holds in his hands. In one hand, he holds a tall scepter, a traditional symbol of rule and authority. In the other, he appears to hold a coin, which could suggest temptation, corruption,
wealth,
and the duality of power. We cannot say with certainty that each object has one fixed meaning.
But I think this really is a great depiction of the subtleness of the enemy, right? Even the smile on the face, right? So like we typically perceive it as this pure, wicked, evil being, entity, horns, red, got a tail, probably got some hooves. I mean, he's got wings in the picture. That's probably the only like essence that ties to something like a monstrosity of some sort, right? But the throne symbolizing power, right? The scepter and things of that sort, tied to corruption, right? That's like the seed that Satan typically tries to plant. Greed, tied to the coin, money, people valuing money over things that have real substance in life. Obviously, we got the crown down here. We got some change, some spare change, skulls tied to death, or could be symbolizing death as well. But even like, I don't know, at first glance, I thought this was like the Pope or something, just the way he's dressed. But what I immediately thought of was, modern day religion. And you'd be like, what religion? How is religion tied to anything of the enemy? But think about it, man. Modern day religion and religion, a lot of times in general, is a form of control, manipulation, and people trying to put individuals in a box, right? Jesus came to restore and renew the mind, essentially emphasizing heart posture and walking in the spirit, not having this checklist and all these rules, right? Uh, to be in alignment with the Lord, right? When Jesus came, he essentially changed the game. But when you look at modern day religion, there's so much wickedness going on, you know, in a lot of these places, a lot of these buildings, a lot of discrimination, you know, a lot of judgment. So even in what is meant to be, you know, a representation of Christ, or, you know, the body of Christ, has been manipulated and twisted due to certain seeds of the enemy being planted. So that's why I kind of connected the dots, that you can even look at religion as a form of, or even a place where Satan is trying to manipulate the people. He's trying to pretty much brainwash and control the minds of people, you know, because, I mean, you can't put God in a box. And that's the thing that religion will try to do in some lights, or try to overly critique you and say this and that about you, when, you know, we know in reality God or Jesus doesn't look at us that way. So that's kind of my 2 cents and what I took from it. And, you know, Satan is very slick and sly, right? The subtleness of the smile. I did a reaction the other day to where a gentleman was talking about how he met the devil. But when he said he met him, it wasn't what he expected. But the dude, he just knew it was the devil, right? Like, he said he was telepathically reading his mind and saying certain things, and knew what he was going to do before he did it. But the gentleman looked like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed man dressed in suit and tie with a briefcase. And a lot of people have mentioned when they've met the devil to where he was dressed up in suit and tie. So the devil isn't going to come to you as some type of monstrous or, you know, scary looking being. He's going to try to slip through the cracks and present himself in a way that he could take advantage or manipulate you. And that's a part of the trickery.
But together they clearly strengthen the idea of Satan as a ruler rather than a monster. This is a devil enthroned above the things humanity desires. And that may be what makes this version of Satan feel strangely close to real life. Evil is rarely presented to us as something obviously monstrous. More often, it appears as an opportunity, a reward, a promise, or a shortcut. Wealth, influence, beauty, status, victory, control. All of these things can look attractive before they become destructive. In that sense, Stasiak's Satan feels less like a creature from a distant hell, and more like a personification of the temptations people face in the world itself. This is why the calmness of the figure matters so much. He does not need to chase anyone. He does not need to threaten the viewer. He simply sits there, smiling above the remains of power and death, holding the symbols of authority, as if he understands that temptation works best when it does not look like danger at all. This portrayal also becomes interesting when compared to other 19th century images of Satan. In Alexandre Cabanel's Fallen Angel, Satan is shown as beautiful, wounded, and filled with resentment after his fall. In Gustave Doré's illustrations for Paradise Lost, he becomes monumental and dramatic, almost heroic in scale. But Stasiak's version feels colder than both. His Satan is not suffering, fighting, or falling. He is already seated above the world, calm and satisfied. And perhaps that is why the painting stays in the mind. It does not depend on horror, movement, or violence. Its power comes from stillness. Stasiak leaves us with an image that feels almost ceremonial, as if we are not watching a scene unfold, but standing before an idol of everything the world can worship when it forgets what those things cost. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, especially whether you had seen this painting before and how you interpret this unusual portrayal of Satan. And if there is any detail you think deserves to be mentioned, feel free to share it down below. Thank you all so much for watching.
What's funny is even the background. I mean, blue skies, you know, we're not getting this association with hell in terms of environment, right? So yeah, comment down below. Let me know y'all's thoughts. This was an interesting watch. It's funny how like a lot of these Renaissance painters, you know, their depiction of certain things is tied to the true nature and essence of the reality, right? Because like I said, Satan ain't gonna come to you, you know, very evil, crazy looking, make you afraid. He's gonna come to you like the the narrator was mentioning, in terms of some type of opportunity, something that's very enticing, whether it's a relationship, you know, a certain girl you're trying to chase or whatever it may be. It's going to look cool on the outside, but then you're going to come to the realization that, okay, this is a big problem. So, man, peace, love, prosperity. God bless y'all, man. We'll see y'all in the next video. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life.